Welcome to the Real Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, T. Ares, and today's guest is a good friend of mine, Carlos. He is an expert when you're talking about merchant services, anything that has to do with merchant services. Man's been in the business for 30 years. So listen up, because he's got a lot of information that's going to be helpful to everyone. So my guest, Carlos, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, T.
So
Good to see you,
let's first let the people know who you are. Give me a little bit of a story. Obviously, it's a 30-year process, keep it short.
No, listen, it really is short because, lived in Miami my whole life, 40 years, and, went to Christopher Columbus High School, and right out of high school, at a young age, I went to go work for a company called InstaCheck right here behind International Mall, and I did check guarantee. That's how I started, and that was in 1995. And then in 1997, I crossed over to merchant credit card processing. In 1999, I was the very first independent sales office for Chase Manhattan Bank in the state of Florida.
Wow!
So me and my partner at the time, we were the only ones that were selling Chase merchant services in Miami. I was extremely close with the Hotel Association on some of their boards here for over 17 years with Stu Blumberg, who was the president here. I was a pillar trustee with the Miami Beach Chamber.
Nice.
Very involved in the community that gave back to me, A lot of clients on Ocean Drive were obviously doing business with me because of that. And, that's how I started and been doing it my whole entire life. And I love it. The guy that brought me into the industry was the vice president of South Florida Banking Institute.
Oh, wow.
So I think one of the areas where I'm different is I learned this industry from the banking side. I didn't learn it from the sales side, which is kind of why sometimes I get insulted when people call me a salesperson. Don't call me a salesman. I'm a banker. I learned this from the banking side. And when we sell this product, we sell the banking product. We don't try to, create these sales pitches or even worse, these empty promises that a lot of people out there do.
Now, tell me, give me the name of your new company.
Inspire Payments. When I was here, the name of my company was First Rate Merchant Services. That's where everybody knew me for. Obviously, right. In 2010, I also ran for Miami-Dade County Commissioner for Katie Sorensen's seat, and that's when I was the owner of First Rate Merchant Services. As I told you, Emilio Estefan was my client for over 15 years. So was Andrew and Arthur Hertz from the Miami Seaquarium till they closed their doors. News Cafe, where Yanni Versace had his last meal. Mangoes, David Wallach, all clients of mine for many years. But this company, when I sold that company and we started this one, this was about a new vision, right?
Okay.
I wanted to inspire people that the old way of doing business is still capable, it's still around. But, I also want to inspire businesses to know that there's still people out there with integrity. So when I was thinking of the name, I was like, okay, everybody has these catchy names that have to do with payments, and payment this and payment link and, whatever, right? Yeah. But mine wanted to be about what I wanted to do as an individual. Now at 52 years old, what do I want to do the next 10, 15 years of my life as an individual? And it was more about inspiring people on how to run a business with integrity and with ethics, because I sell a banking product.
Right.
A lot of people that I talk to, this is not my words, these are words of business owners that I have talked to, not only in Miami, but throughout the whole entire country. They've always had issues with misrepresentation, right? And so for me, being the type of person that everything has always been about that and integrity and doing the right thing and taking care of those business owners, I wanted to inspire people that people like us still exist.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that there's a big group of business owners that believe that we're gone.
So let's go into this.
Okay.
You and we worked together. I worked for Carlos, and there's a certain way we did business back then. What's the difference between that business model and the business model of today's? What's the difference that you could give us some insights on?
As far as my business model, I don't know that much has changed because, I've always told you this is a relationship business, right? So you have to go out there and build that trust with your community. You have to go out there and let them know that you are in your community and build that trust. What I have seen the most changing in this industry is customer service. process. If I would have gone to talk to a business owner 10 years ago, the chances that a business owner would have told me, Carlos, I love everything you have to say. You seem like a great guy, but I'm not switching. Anytime I got a problem, I call T. T comes over right away. If I have a problem with a chargeback, if I have a problem with a deposit, if I have a problem with my terminal breaking down, whatever, T solves it. I'm not switching. I got great customer service.
Right.
It's gone out the window. A lot of people blame it on COVID. But I've been saying for a long time it was happening before COVID. Not to nitpick, but there's companies out there. There's massive companies out there. I don't have to name them. There's massive companies out there in my space, right? That they don't have personal representation out there on the street. If you have a problem, get on the phone, call the 800 number. Average wait time is 20 minutes. If you're a Hispanic business owner from Hialeah, good luck talking to somebody in your native language. Right? And these are billion-dollar companies in the merchant processing field.
Wow.
So my competitors have said, hey, wait a second. If it's working for them and they're making money, why am I going to spend money on relationship managers? Because, listen, relationship managers out on the field cost business owners like myself a lot of money.
Right.
I tell people, call me old-fashioned, call me, stubborn. I'm of the notion that business owners want to know who they're doing business with, especially when it comes to something as sensitive as who's processing their money.
Right.
It's their money. So it's like the most important thing in their business, and they want to know who those people are. I just think a lot of business owners don't believe that a lot of us still exist, and I know that because when we go see presentations and I go talk to people all the time, I ask them. I said, T, whenever you have a problem with a chargeback, or whenever you have a problem with a deposit, or if something happens to your terminal, if lightning strikes or whatever, who's your rep? Who do you call? And they all look at me like, I'm supposed to call somebody? I'm supposed to have somebody, Yes, that's how it used to be. And so back to Inspire. I want to inspire business owners, and I want to inspire young professionals that want to come work for Inspire Payments that, yes, companies with integrity that put customer service first do exist. And not only that, we're the companies that are going to keep and retain our customers. I can assure you that in today's day and age, people change merchant accounts more than they ever have before in their life. Why? Because of the trust factor and because of the lies.
Right. The
lies. I mean, this is not recent, T. It's been going on for years and years and years. I can even tell you a story. I was once doing a presentation right by the collection, who was also one of my accounts, Ken Gorin, for many years, the collection, did their processing as well. And went to go see a mechanic. And he tells me, Carlos, everything you're saying is fantastic. But you see right there? And he pointed to the back, and there was 2 boxes. And there was 2 Eclipses, those old terminals that were from Telecheck, unopened in a box. And he goes, I'm paying for those. Some guy came and sold those to me.
Oh my God.
But they've never installed them.
Wow.
And T, that was 20 years ago. So imagine today. So it's an exciting time for us at Inspire Payments because, it's like business owners see us. Once they get to know us, they're like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air. I didn't know guys like you existed still, right? But it's also a challenge because by the same token, they're scared. Rightfully so. Business owners are rightfully scared. And my account managers, when they come work with me, they ask me all the time. They go, what are our biggest challenges? Is it like saving people money? And I say, no, that's the easiest thing to do. The biggest challenges that we have is gaining their trust because they've been lied to so many times.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
But listen, my new account managers, when they come work for me, they got to sign an integrity agreement with me. And because all of my clients, whether they met me or not, have access to me. The girls at my office, they know. If anybody ever calls for me, pass a client, a merchant, pass them to me. I talk to every single person that wants to talk to me. And I tell them, if a single merchant ever calls me and says that you lied to them or misrepresented or said anything, you're fired immediately. No, there's no recourse. I mean, there's nothing to talk about. Right. There's nothing to talk about. I never want to hear that you said something misrepresenting, to us, because this is a sensitive matter.
Yeah, it's their money you're playing with at the bottom line. So obviously we've already heard that you are hiring, so you need a job.
Always.
We'll have the descriptions for sure for you for the hiring part. But yeah, thanks. Anything we've got into now the challenges. Like, what challenges have you do you run into? Or do you face when meeting these merchants?
As far as challenges, I think the biggest is technology. This industry has shifted, because the software technology has changed, right? And the best example I can tell you would be the restaurant industry, okay? So I was very big in the restaurant industry here. Like I told you, Emilio Estefan, Mango's, News Cafe, the Cardozo, all of those were clients of mine. And back in the day, I would say the big three was Micros, Aloha, and Pinnacle, PosiTouch, right? And you as the business owner, the owner of the restaurant, you went with your software and you could choose whatever processor you wanted. But now you've had companies like Toast and HyperTouch and various others that they come in with these wonderful promises. Oh, by the way, you have to use our processing, and we're going to obligate you to a 3-year contract. Which is something I personally feel against.
Right.
Because for 30 years, I've told people, if you're not happy with me, you can leave tomorrow. You're under no contract, no obligation with me. So, when these software companies have reached out to me, about partnering, I say no, because it goes against what I believe, which is customers should be able to to go with whatever processor they want to go with, right?
Right.
And so that's, I would say, is the biggest challenge, because it's not just the restaurant industry now. Mechanics, dry cleaners, flower shops, they all beauty salons. They have these POS systems that are fully integrated for their appointment, their scheduling, their having to do with their time clock, so they can put even their time clock, all of those things in there. But then it forces them. And I've been saying for the last couple of months, if there's any software companies out there that are willing to take a risk, take my advice, become that software company that does not obligate customers to use their processing. Be a payment agnostic software company.
Right.
And you will be super successful. Because business owners are doing it, but they don't want to be captive.
Right.
Who wants to be captive? But the solutions aren't there. So we've looked at this industry has basically split up into two. You have the ones that have gone with our software side, and then you still have the ones that are using the standalone systems like the Clovers and the Deja Vus and the Verifone and other cloud-based payment agnostic systems out there that they have. So that would be our biggest challenge, because there's a lot of people that would love to do business with me, T, that I can't. Because those software systems make their lives so easy. And they do.
Right.
Yes, their processing is expensive. And they hate the fact that they're paying through their teeth for the processing. But there's a comfort level of what that software does. So, I tell people, listen, are you willing to do this, and this to save a lot of money? If you're not, then stay where you're at,
Right.
But I always am forthright with customers. I never lie to them. I will tell them what their challenges are going to be. Some like it, some don't. We get it. But the number one goal always is friendship. And I tell that to everybody. I didn't come here for you to be my client. I came here to be your friend.
Right.
And how can I help your business grow? And if you and I do business together in the future, fantastic. But I didn't come here to. Yeah, I came here, to establish a friendship, and that's how I've operated this business for a long time. So we'll see where technology goes. I think that business owners are getting a little bit frustrated with being held captive with these softwares. So we'll see. We'll see if somebody takes my challenge in this country and starts creating these. I'll give you an example. I met with somebody yesterday that was telling me, hey, what's the alternative to QuickBooks? There isn't any. There is not a company right now that there is an alternative to QuickBooks. We have an interface with QuickBooks for their online version,
right?
But there isn't any. And QuickBooks got rid of Intuit, and they're forcing their clients to go through Stripe now. But that's only for their desktop version, not their online. But there's people out there. Hey, is there an alternative? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. And sometimes there are softwares out there that are just unbeatable. But when you start looking at these either retail or restaurant type businesses, I think there's a lot of room for growth. I really do. So I think the next 5 to 10 years are going to be exciting. Let's see which I'm gunning for them. So those companies can reach out to me, because I do want to talk to you. Those of you that want to liberate business owners from, okay, I'll give you what you want, but you got to give me your processing. No, that's not right. That's not. I goes against everything I believe.
I think we should always have choices, right?
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely
the key. I hate that we have to go through FPL.
Yep.
We don't have another choice. They're like, oh, but that's not a monopoly. But
right.
If you look at it, it's a monopoly. Just because, there's another FPL type deal in Tampa and in Orlando, but that doesn't mean there's only one company doing the whole South Florida. So to me, it's kind of like two-faced in that sense. So I would always want the option.
Correct.
So I could be able to make a fight and we could lower the rates and stuff. But let's go with. I want to really talk about this.
All right.
Knocking on doors, because that I think is something that's lost nowadays. Now it's a lot easier to send an email or to call, and there's different ways that people don't go out and go door to door. I remember we would do it when I was working with you, and I've kept that on, and I've implemented that into my other businesses, and I've knocked on doors, and I do it till this day. I still do it because I think it's a personal touch going in and talking to them. So tell me what your strategy is when you're doing the knocking on doors, and do you think it's a dead topic?
No, listen, I was actually, again, for businesses out there, that sell business to business like myself. I asked my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law has a car dealership. I said, Angel, how many people call you to solicit you for merchant services? He goes, a lot. I said, how many people come here and talk to you? He goes, nobody.
That's crazy.
Again, something that didn't exist before, but this is a pattern of what we're seeing, which I love it. I love it because I'm going to take all your customers. Right. But also the demo, and I think a lot of the older business owners that are listening to this podcast are going to resonate with what I have to say, because again, I'm 52 years old. When I started First Rate Merchant Services, I was in my 30s, and when I was here in Miami in my 30s, like you and other friends that we had, we were go-getters. Mm-hmm. We went out to the street. We went to battle, right? Yeah. Nowadays, that's my biggest challenge. People are content. People are content, and so if I were to interview 10 people today, they're going to tell me that they rather have a desk job for $40,000 a year than to have a sales job making $200,000, and that blows my mind.
That's crazy.
That blows my mind. So I gotta understand the times, but as far as your question to the door knocking, I help them, and this is what I mean, right? So I learned from a friend of mine that I had in Washington, D.C. I went to go see him about 15, 20 years ago. He had a telemarketing department that would set appointments for his reps, right? But he had one rep that would sell 15 to 20 merchant accounts every month without taking a single appointment. And I was like, okay, I'm all ears. I gotta understand, right? And this guy, every morning at 7:00 in the morning, he was suit and tie in his office, which that's a requirement, for me. I believe presentation. I'm from the 80s, so remember that old Andre Agassi commercial, "Image is everything." Yeah, that's what I believe, right? Yeah. So I always tell my people, you want to work for me, you don't want to wear a tie, fine, don't wear a tie, but you got to wear a coat, no tie, right?
Right.
This guy would be in a suit and tie, and I told him, I said, "Jeff, what's your secret?" And he goes, "Carlos, I don't come home until I get a deal." Okay, but what's your secret? So he goes, "Why don't you come out with me?" So I was up there in DC with him, and we went and we knocked on doors. And this guy was just the friendliest guy, and he would just walk in and say, "Hey, my name is Jeff. I'm with a company called Direct Connect. Don't know if you guys have heard of us. And this, that, and the other." And he would go into his spiel, right? And I realized. I tell this to, I say this joking around, people laugh at me, right? Because I compare it to the bar scene, right? You have two guys, right? You have the guy that's going to ask two girls to dance, and both say no, and he goes, "Okay, I'm going to go home," and he goes home.
Right.
But then you have the guy that says, no, there's a girl here that wants to dance with me. That was Jeff's mentality. Jeff's mentality was that. He says, "Okay, I can walk into one business and they say, no, I'm not interested." And he'll walk into another, "Oh, no, I'm not interested." And he could easily get in his car and go home. No, Jeff's mentality was, there's somebody here that wants to dance with me. And so what I tell people is this. Now more than ever, you have a higher success rate of acquiring clients by knocking on doors. Why? Because of what I said. Customer service sucks right now. There's no other way to put it. It's terrible. Even from the big billion-dollar processors out there. It's terrible. You put somebody on hold for 20 minutes, shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's what's happening from big, processors in this country. And so what I tell people is I say, listen, I'm going to give you 2 appointments a day. Okay? And I'm going to set them apart, a couple hours apart, so you have time. When you go see that person, well, there's 10 businesses to the left, 10 businesses to the right. And say, "Hey, T, my name is Carlos. I was just talking to Jenny next door. Jenny that has the dry cleaner next door. Well, listen, the only reason I just wanted to come say hi, but, I was showing her some new programs within the state of Florida that are allowing you businesses to save a lot of money on your processing. Can I get your business card and give you a call next week? No cost, no obligation. I just want to come say hi, build that relationship with you." How hard is that? Almost everybody's going to give you your card. Right. Not everybody's going to give you an appointment. That's okay. Back to the bar scene. Mm-hmm. Not everybody there wants to dance with you.
Right.
But there's probably a girl there that wants to dance with you. You just got to find out who she is. Yeah. Same as your customers out there, right?
You got to knock on enough doors.
You got to knock on enough doors. So what I tell them is I say, okay, so if I gave you 2 appointments a day, that's 10 a week. So you should have over 100 business cards, 100 to 200 business cards at the end of the week.
Sure.
Out of those 100 to 200 business cards, they know exactly what we do. Here's my message to you. If I told you that 195 people are going to reject you, but 5 people are going to make you very wealthy, can you deal with the 195 rejections? Some people can and some people can't, T. Yeah. And you know that. We've talked about this for years. And listen, we hear it on the news all the time. Oh, the top 1%, the top 3. There's a reason why people are in the top 1% and the top 3%. Michael Jordan used to take thousands and thousands of shots every day. And he used to miss them, and he used to make them, and so forth. It's not about the shots you make, it's a miss, it's about the shots that you make, right? And so at the end of the day, we all have our failures. Baseball players get paid $600 million a year to fail 600% of the time.
Yes, they do.
Okay?
Yep.
And so that's the approach that I like to, that I tell people, you have to have the mentality. When it comes to door knocking, listen, I can teach anybody how to become very, very wealthy. And for me, I guess wealthy, that's I guess, subjective to somebody's opinion. But I think if you're making anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 a month, you're a wealthy person. You should have everything that you want if you live, well below your means, right? So you're, as you know, the demographics. Not a lot of people in this country make $15,000 to $25,000 a month.
Correct.
Okay? But I can teach people how to make that kind of money as long as you can take their rejection, because it's going to exist. Remember, people have been lied to, or people are doing business with a friend or a family member. Right? We're not gonna be able to convince those business owners, right?
Right.
But there are people out there that are hurt. There are business owners, a lot more than ever are there out there that are lied to. So whatever business that you're in, whether you're a mortgage lender, or somebody's a realtor, or I sell windows, okay? I can assure you, if you sell windows in somebody's home, or you sell copiers. And you sell copiers for Canon, and somebody from your competitor went and lied to them. Well, guess what? They don't want to do business with that person anymore because they lied to them. This is your chance. But if you don't knock on that door, you have no idea if that happened.
Yep.
But you can knock on that door and ask them for the business, or you can knock on that door and ask them for friendship. I teach people how to ask people for friendship. And by the way, if by chance that service that you have isn't working for you, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
I can help you.
I got you.
Yeah, and that's what and so yes, don't be afraid to fail. That's what I tell people when it comes to door knocking. But as a business owner, I feel like my obligation is to put my salespeople out there, in at least get them out. Give them a reason to go out. So I do believe giving appointments to salespeople is important. So give them 1 or 2 appointments a day, and then they can door knock. They can be part of chambers. I'm a strong supporter of chambers, especially here in this county. So be a part of your chambers, Chamber South, Coral Gables Chamber, Miami Beach Chamber, Hotel Association, whatever it may be. And get involved, and then get out there and knock on those doors. Absolutely.
Now, let's finish off with this. What are your goals, your aspirations? Right. Give me that to finish off.
My biggest goal and aspiration, in this business in the state of Florida, I want to control the state of Florida. And in order for me to control the state of Florida, I have to have representatives in Miami, Broward, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, the West Coast, the Naples, Sarasota area. I cannot be successful if I don't have the right area managers that are going to manage these accounts. And so I'm at a point in my life and my career where I'm willing to spend that money to put those people, because I believe that business owners are being disrespected. If you're telling a business owner that to solve their problems they have to call an 800 number, you're being disrespected. I do not want 800 numbers in part of my company. You have a representative to call, and that person's there to solve your problems. That's my goal over the next 3, 5, and 10 years. We will have representatives throughout the whole entire state, because when a business owner calls in, hey, something happened to my machine. Hey, somebody's trying to do a chargeback for $500. I did everything. Hey, somebody this, somebody that. Your account manager is going to handle that for you, because that's not your job. And my competitors have made that their job.
Right.
And so I don't believe that. That's where I say that business owners are being disrespected. But let me just say one thing real quick. A lot of it has to do with some business owners. Not all, some. Sure. Why? Because some business owners have nickel and dimed these processors. And when you nickel and dime your processors, guess what? I tell people, be careful what you ask for, because somebody out there is going to give it to you. And there's been banks, major banks, that have done this, that have their merchant services departments have plummeted. Why? Because they were giving it away, and then they couldn't service the customer. You can't buy a pencil for $1 and sell it for $1.15 and be in business long. Can't do it. Right. Sorry. And so, but you know what? I think business owners, they're smart. Business owners are smart, and they realize, you know what? I want a good deal, but I don't want, like I tell people, when is the cheapest thing you've ever bought the best thing you've ever bought? Never.
Lo barato queda
caro,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they say.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you have to be careful with that. But I'm gonna have all your information down below.
Awesome.
I think you guys are gonna learn a lot. If you want to have a job with Carlos, and you want to be in sales, I mean, that's where you want to be at. I know he says he's not a salesperson, but everybody's selling every day of their life, right. Whether it's, talking to your spouse, anything you're doing, you're always selling. And so I think Carlos gives you a good way of selling and being yourself, being natural, being honest, because that's the way you should sell. You should sell with respect, honesty, and become friends with the person you're selling. And that in turn will get you the long-term clients that are not going to leave for a cent off. Right. So that's right. What you want. All the description will be down below. Carlos is the man. Call him. He's going to help you out. And we're going to see a bunch of people all around the state of Florida. And he's going to be taking over the whole state.
Yeah. And listen, also, all your friends out there and everybody out there that owns a business, listen, give us a call. If you're tired of calling that 800 number every time you have a problem as a business owner, whether you're a mechanic, you own a dry cleaner, flower shop, whatever business that you are, that you're accepting payments, you're tired of calling that 800 number, call me. I will promise to give you the best service you've ever had in this industry.
There you go. You see? Best salesman right there. I'm telling you.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah.